All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are just getting started. We can already see some of you have already joined us. Give us a couple of minutes and we'll get started. And my speaker for the day, Kartik, is already here. Yeah. So let me just first start with a small slides that I have. So, hello, everyone. So, we've been doing, in the last few weeks, we've been doing a lot of online sessions, which are topics which are very, very contextual to product managers. So my name is Malti, and I'm super happy to bring yet another, live webinar session again. For folks who are joining Product Talk with Malti session for the very first time, I'm the founder and CEO of Spark Prod Consulting, and I'm also the founder of Product Talk with Malti. And I am somebody who comes with about 25 years of product experience. And I run a community of product managers. We've done few events, series of such online congregation that we do, but we have a very, very active WhatsApp group. And this is the podcast channel that I'm talking about. We have done actually a bit close to 35 episodes so far, all about product management, all about building products, some with founders, some with techies, from people across India, outside India, talking about lot of different nuances about product. For those who would like to join our YouTube channel, highly recommend you to follow it, subscribe to it, and share with us what you would like to hear. So this is a new series which we have started since the last 1 month, where every 2 weeks we kind of bring in an expert, like how we have done for today, and that's the link for our WhatsApp group. Yeah. So with that, I'm going to come back to our chat for today. So thank you again, and thankful and super happy to have Kartik Suryanarayanan here with me today. I have known Kartik for about more than 4 years now, and
Yeah.
he's a very, very seasoned product leader. He's an alumni of IIM Kozikode, and somebody who's very, very vocal in the product world, very, very seasoned, in terms of building B2C, B2B, data-centric products. And now when we all are in this cusp of transitioning into AI, I'm sure Kartik has been kind of leading it from the front. And that's when a couple of weeks back when Kartik and I were chatting that how he has transformed his career to lead these AI product track. I said you got to share the secret sauce with a lot of other folks who are trying to do the same thing. So I'm super glad that Kartik agreed, and here we are. So beyond a lot of other hats that Kartik wears, he's also helping, the community that we run, Product Talk with Malti, and he's also a very active investor and mentor to startups. So if you have anything related to product, you know whom to reach out to. Thank you, Kartik, and welcome to this session today.
Thank you so much, Malti. Wonderful connecting with you, and thanks for all the good words. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. So without any ado, Kartik, I would like to kind of get started, right? First of all, when you started on this journey of, not knowing anything, and many of us are very new to the AI world only in the last few years, right? While AI and ML as a technology has lingered for very, very, very long time. But I think ChatGPT kind of democratized this and showed us what the power of generative AI is, right? But what was your trigger? What led you into this journey of when you started to build AI products?
Yeah, great question, Malti. So, how it all started was I consider just like how we look into products in a product management world. I consider myself as a product too. So,
Uh-huh.
whatever applies to products applies to me as well.
Uh-huh.
So, I have to be product market fit all the time. Otherwise, I'll not be relevant. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to be current with the market. and I wanted to know what are the skills that I need to, so that I am
Mhm.
still relevant in the market. And that's how the journey started. And uh, one of the most important events that really helped me understand AI a lot was the ISPMA conference in 2023,
Mhm.
wherein I had the opportunity to connect to a lot of product folks from the community who were working on cutting edge at that time. Gen AI was very new. In fact, I also was part of a few panels I witnessed where ChatGPT, the question and answers were curated using ChatGPT and all that. So I was like wondering, wow, this is really good. I mean, it's generating content. It is giving the ready-made script of how the panel needs to be conducted and things like that. So I was really thrilled by that, and then that's how it all started. So if it's fine, I really wanted to quickly share few of my learnings with this question, Malti. I'll share my
Sure.
slide deck, few things I wanted to share, and
Sure.
then we can continue with all the questions, please, if that's fine.
Sure. Absolutely. I think a lot of us, while you're bringing it up, a lot of us want to get started, or we are in different stages of this journey, right? Some of us are just getting started. Some of us would have picked up a few things on the way. Some of us are probably slightly more advanced than others. But I think, especially as a product builder, what is important, what is not important, which is a very reliable, these things. I think those are the questions that people constantly have in their mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can go through all of that, and I'll answer
Sure.
during the entire talk that we have today. So this is the famous product adoption curve, right? So we know the whenever a product is newly launched to the market, it is the innovators who are very keen to try and test it, and then you have the early adopters who are the testers, beta testers, and all that, and then you have the launch. Then there is to be product market fit, and there is crossing the chasm concept, early majority, late majority, and laggard. At my point in my career, I really didn't want to be a laggard for sure. I really wanted to be not a late majority as well, not early majority. I really wanted to be somebody like an early adopter. So it all boils down to this whole curve of where I wanted to be part of this entire ecosystem, entire thing. So I was somebody who got motivated by a lot of speakers during the ISPMA conference, and that's when I decided that yes, I have to start learning AI, and started understanding concepts like what is AI. I started from basics. I really didn't go deep into coding and all of that, though I have a bit of a background on all of these. But I really wanted to understand what is AI, because AI is not something that came in 2023. It's been there from a while now. So I wanted to understand what is AI, what is machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, Gen AI, how are these interconnected, and then what is an LLM, what is data science got to do with this entire thing, what is big data and all that. So we had heard a lot of things about data science, big data and all, but Gen AI, large language models, were something that really initiated this entire AI conversation. So this is where it all started for me. This is where I started. These are some of the very good links which I'm going to share to you, Mati, and through you it can reach to everybody else. So this is something that I wanted to share. So these are wonderful blogs around how AI and Gen AI in product world really helps with things like how AI could accelerate software market, time to market can be accelerated faster now, how to build products from zero to a product from scratch, a lot of things. There were also things around newer concepts used to evolve in 2024. It was all about rags and building models and all of that. I'm going to talk more about all that during this session. And then, of course, the entire business process building and all of that using no code, low code tools and all that. And then, of course, understanding all these concepts, the terminologies and how it works, the neural networks part and all that, exploring. And what I really found really interesting in this entire Gen AI thing was the concept of prompt engineering. So prompt is really really important. People might think it is easy, but it is not. It is to give you an analogy. It is I like biryani, vegetable biryanis, and whenever I find any new hotels that I go, I ask the recipe from the chef so that I can prepare at home. So, however, whatever recipes I bring in, what I feel is I can't make the biryanis like how they prepare. So, what I realized is it is not about the recipe, but it's all to do with the cooking process. So, uh, The cooking process, I would like to relate it to the prompt crafting. So we all have the recipes, which are the models that we have, but how best to make use of is all to do with how good you are, how skillful you are in coming or in crafting your prompts. So prompt engineering is really, really important. You have to take it seriously. There are various articles and blogs around. Now newer tools will take care of prompts and all that. You don't have to be so very skillful in understanding prompts, but I seriously feel prompt engineering is really important. And some of the products that I have built in my company and outside, some of the iterations what I do, I feel there are prompts which have spanned across multi pages. There is a prompt that I know which is a 3.5 page prompt. So prompts can be that complex as well. So these are the things which I feel are important. And bad prompts you give, you get what you feed in is what bad you get. So it's all about that. And one important aspect I wanted to really cover quickly was around mindsets. So where do you fit in into this entire uh, set of people? So are you an AI snoozer right now? Are you somebody like a laggard who says that, oh, AI, it's not going to do anything, it's not a hype, it's a hype and it's not something that's going to impact me? Are you in this category, or on the other extreme, which is AI panicker, thinking that okay, AI is going to take off my job, what is that I need to be doing and things like that? So where do you, so I wanted to fit into AI users first, wherein I start exploring small things, understanding concepts and things like that, and eventually get into AI tinkerers. So AI tinkerers are someone who uses all these tools as productivity tools to begin with, then start learning prompts, effective prompting, and making use of that, and then trying to see how best I can build products, understand all these open source tools and all these workflow, no code tools in building your business workflows and all that, and eventually how you get into AI value creator, like how you build your products using the data that you build using synthetic data or the models, which how do you evaluate and analyze what models best works for me, then how do you build in all the security guardrails, tech governance and things like that, AI governance and things like that. So this is where you need to really think seriously around what's where you want to fit into this. So my sincere request to everybody who is listening to me today is, uh, don't be in either of the extremes. Don't be an AI snoozer nor an AI panicker, but you have to be. It's okay to begin with an AI user to start with, and then eventually you will get there. So with that, I'll stop here. This is something that I wanted to quickly share.
Yeah, no, I think that's brilliant. So basically, if I have to summarize, and probably Kartik, before the call, if you could just copy those resources which you kind of talked about, I think that would be very helpful for the audience. So basically, what you're kind of summarizing, and I love the snoozers to the panickers, because I think just by panicking and saying that, oh, you know what, oh, I need to do this also, that also, I think some kind of a structured learning will always help. And how do you kind of get started, where you start exploring with these AI products, you start tinkering with them to see how they are working, and then you kind of try to go up the learning curve to learn more about data models and stuff like that. So Kartik, actually, and I think the most important meta skill now that a product managers also need to have is your as part of your craft is prompt engineering, right?
Absolutely.
Those are, yeah, I think when you told me last time that you ended up creating a prompt which was like 3.5 pages, was definitely like a aha moment for me. So, Kartik, one question I have is that, and this is I mean, I run multiple AI PM cohorts, right? Now, one question which I constantly get is, how technical should a PM be? Now, you are somebody who's very, very seasoned in product building, right? And you are somebody at the cusp of, leading portfolios, strategizing, and these things. So, what is your advice, or in your own experience, how much did you really need to dirty your hands? How much technical you needed to go in order to get started with this AI journey, or just to keep building your products?
Great question again, Mati. So I was fortunate enough to work on a few of the initiatives that we had to run in my company, Elusia. And what I realized was initially I knew all these concepts through the trainings and all the readings that I had done and YouTube videos and all that. But at some point, when I was interacting with the, uh, the team, most of them were people who had expertise in AI and they had built a lot of products and they were all developers, right? I mean,
Okay.
I used to interact a lot with them. So whenever they used to talk about this is not working, that is not working, I need to do this algorithm and cluster algorithm and that, this and all that, I used to find little lost. So I used to be lost in those conversations, and that's when I used to make a note of what they were talking in those meetings, and I used to come back and do my own research. And next day I used to be fine. I used to understand what they're really talking about, and it's no shame. They are younger to you is absolutely fine. In learning, there is no shame. Ask them what it is. Have a call. If you're not understanding, have a call and understand what it is. And I went to an extent of learning Python programming so that I really understand how the code is working and how you call the models and all that. So you have to dirty your hands. So you should know how to. It's not necessary that you have. It's not like you have to build models. You don't have to learn Python programming to build models and test it and all that. But you should understand how this entire thing works. And in AI world, unless and until you are hands-on, it is not learning it or knowing it theoretically. It is not going to work. You have to be hands-on, and you have to practically work through this entire thing. Otherwise it's going to be, it's not going to be easy, and you will probably not be able to do justice to what you're doing.
Yeah, no, completely hear you, especially as you said, there are now a new set of people with whom you work, which are your data scientists, your ML engineers. So if you want to be able to have an effective collaboration with them, there is a fair amount of technology that you need to learn, right? And maybe in the initial days, it might feel a lot more technical, but eventually you kind of find your comfort, your fairness zone. So, if Karthik, if somebody wants to get started, right? I mean, for example, understanding what is a model. There are so many terms, like for example, temperature or weights or parameters or partially trained model, supervised learning, unsupervised learning. When you started to go through that journey, how are you making yourself comfortable, or who are some of these people you would kind of lean on? As you said, you continue to ask questions, right? So how did you go about doing that?
Yeah. So I used to look first my resource. The easy way for anybody, if somebody has to deal with this, is YouTube. YouTube is the best channel. So you don't have to go for Udemy's or Coursera's. Don't do that. Go to YouTube, and there are a lot of tools, a lot of videos. Especially, I can recommend few. One, I've made a list of who they are. I think Krish Nayak is one person who explains all these concepts really well. Another one is Campus X and Code
Do you
Basics.
want to just write it down on the chat, Karthik? And
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
if you can bring the mic a little bit closer.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. Now this is
sure.
better.
Now it's
Yeah.
fine. Okay, sure. Let me put it in the chat. Um, Look for Krish Nayak on YouTube. He covers really, especially the Gen AI, MCPs, agentic AI, all these concepts he has explained really well. Any person who is a novice in this area will be able to understand easily. Then there is Code Basics, is really
Okay.
good. I use it.
In between, your volume is going very down. I don't know. Is it only me, folks in the audience? Are you able to hear Karthik very clearly? Yes. Okay. Okay. Maybe then there is only. Okay. Karandeep says yes. There is. In between, I think volume is going down, Karthik.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not
Now
sure
it is
what happened.
perfectly fine.
Now, okay, maybe
Yeah.
it's Mike, I think. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think these are good ones. And then, of course, you have Andrew NG guy, the deep learning ones. That's where it all started for me. I started with Andrew NG,
Yeah.
the deep learning. So he explains
I think
things
you need
really
to
well.
hold the mic near your mouth. Then it stays well.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these are some of the channels, YouTube channels. You should, of course, Andrew Ng is not on YouTube. He is there, but you can go to Coursera and you'll find a lot of videos from him. You can take those paid ones, but I think there are some sessions which are free as well. But Krish Nayak and Code Basics, I think they're free, and you can start there. Any concepts new to you, you can start from there.
Yeah. I think it would be helpful if you can write down the channels. That's what folks are asking for.
Oh, okay, I'll share the links with folks.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I'll probably give you 2 seconds to just few seconds just to write it down.
Yeah, yeah.
Karandeep already wrote Krish Nayak, Code Basics, I think you spoke about Andrew NG's channel.
Yeah.
And I will, those who have signed up, I will also share the resources in the Luma link over email, so you can watch out for that. I'll send that across.
Yeah.
Deep learning. Oh, I think you wrote it in the other chat. Okay. Campus X. Okay, Karthik, the next thing that I wanted to kind of touch upon was that while you started to build, your AI products and the projects that you were working on, what were some of the primary mindset shifts that you noted that you needed to know? Technology is just one part of it, but underlying just the product development life cycle of a AI product and a traditional non-AI product is very different. So, what were some of those mindset shifts that you had to make when you started working on an AI product?
Yeah, again, great question, Mati. One of the things which we started operating uh, was how do you build? We were not sure whether the concept that we intend to build is going to work or not. So it was more of an experimental thing. So we
Hmm.
didn't operate in the traditional mode of how we do product management. We were not following all the structures and processes in place. We were instead approaching this entire thing more from a startup angle. So everything was fast. We were documenting everything on Confluence, and we were not following agile and all that. It was like we were all coming to a meeting discussing if there is any issue they could contact us at any point in time, and we used to resolve it immediately. So
Okay.
that really helped
Uh-huh.
speed up this entire process. So one other mind shift change was around uh, uh, certain times we're hesitant in trying new tools and things. So if you don't get responses, there are people who are definitely there to help you in coding and building these things, but there are certain things you don't know. They're all new tools, and not everybody is expert in all the things that we had to know and build. So there are instances where we used to go around looking for people outside Elucian and through our networks and getting help from them. And there are instances where we have called guest speakers as well who are experts in those areas and spoken to us and explained us how it should be working and all of that. So networking is really important. And
Hmm.
there are people who listen to you, and they are also they volunteer and they come and they help us by coming and talking to you and explaining things and all of that. So don't think that people don't respond to you. Definitely, if there is a valid genuine ask, there are people who are going to come and help you and talk to you and all of that. So we have done all of these things, but again, mind shift change firstly is don't hesitate to go and try. So go and try, and if it doesn't work, it is fine, because in startup half the things don't work and you need to pivot. But at least you should go try, fail fast.
Hmm.
That's how it used to be traditionally also. But with AI, it's becoming very evident. So that's what I feel.
Okay, okay. And in the along with the mindset shift, what are some of the new skills that you acquired beyond technology while you were building your AI products?
One of the things that I found as a skill is how do you, firstly, you're dealing with a lot of Gen Zs, because for me, it's with more than 2 decades of experience, how to handle them with a lot of energy. So you need to be really fast in thinking. So I used to really try to talk to the Gen Zs and understand how is that they went about learning, and some of the things I took suggestions from them, and I used to read white papers from. They used to tell any Gen Z who happens to be in AI technologies, who is into programming and all, they do a lot of research internally. Every weekends they read a lot of white papers, and
Okay.
and many of the times they used to ask me if there is anything that I have come across which I could. So they're hungry to learn. That
Hmm.
energy and hunger to learn is excellent, and that's something that I developed. So I
Hmm.
started inculcating some of the things which they exhibited. So I wanted to had that hunger, but that energy made me really it motivated me a lot. And then I started learning from them, and the questions they used to ask me certain times, I used to ask them if there are certain things which you need from me, what is that I need to be knowing. And they used to
Hmm.
tell me upfront, and I used to go learn, and I used to come prepared for the next week's work that we were supposed to be doing. So it was all the time learning new things, new concepts. If you don't know, go ask people. If you don't know, if there is no time to ask within that week, weekends, go talk to people outside LOC and build that network, talk to them, understand those concepts, then come back and apply. And product management, with all these things coming in, there are tools which really help you. Especially requirement engineering part is going to be not very complex. Now you have Chat GPT and can do it. And if you want to visualize many of the, if you have an idea, if you have a use case that you want to solve, if you know how to deal with the prompts, and if you know that prompt engineering skill set, there are a lot of low code, no code tools like Bolt, for example, Replit, you can use, and it designs the entire UI for you. And you can visualize this entire thing. So you don't have, previously it was hard for us to even visualize how is it I'm going to be building this, and we used to do a lot of sketchings and all that. But now it's so easy with these
Hmm.
new tools. You can, it's very easy to explain a developer, this is exactly what I have in mind and this is what we should be building. Of course, the next challenging part is how do you then align this to your internal UX templates and all that. But I think whatever these tools give you, it's so easy now to visualize the first stage of MVP part.
Right, right. And actually, you spoke about prompt engineering quite a bit, and that seems to be a new meta skill that a product manager needs to have. Now, very interestingly, I was sometime back talking to another product leader, and for example, one of the things which he said was that when you give prompts, right? For example, there is no version management that any of these LLMs host, right? So even with a prompt, you're trying to fine tune them, trying to give a little deterministic twist to that, right?
Exactly.
So with your iterative approach, as you were kind of learning, if people have to learn about prompt engineering, how should they get started and how can they improvise on that?
It is not an easy way. I'll give you my own example of how we did. So the project that I told you, where we had to write 3.5 page lines of prompts, it was not on the first go. So first we tried, we wrote a prompt, we got 30% accuracy. Then we then went and then we started improvising on the prompt. So over a period of time, over a period of 4.5 5 months, we got to a stage where we got an accuracy of 60 to 80%, and now
Okay.
we are at the 80 to 90% range. We are there. So the prompt has to be constantly evaluated and refined, and you have to make changes and see what change you make is giving you a different result. So it is not just one go you will be able to you can create a prompt and it will work for you. No, it has to happen over a period of time. It's all experimental thing. So it is
And
you
is
have to,
writing a prompt the responsibility of a product manager, or is it a joint collaboration between the engineers and the product managers?
it's a joint collaboration. There are instances where I have written good prompts and developers had written something and I've refined it. There are instances where a lot of changes were made to what I had written on top of
Okay.
what I had written already. So it's a joint collaboration. There is no one. It's a team effort. It's not like
Hmm.
one person knows everything. It's everybody comes together and we brainstorm, we write it, and there are instances where you go back and then make changes to the prompt and try what's working. If the accuracy increases, then why not and all that.
Right.
So
And yeah,
yeah,
okay. Sorry for it. One is your volume is again going down quite a bit.
okay.
The other thing which I want to come here is the aspect which you were kind of just touching, right? Where you said that you were writing these prompts and then you were constantly evaluating. Now we know that in the AI first world, one of the very important skill for a product manager for seeking the output metric or outcome metrics is evals,
Yeah.
right? So could you tell a little bit more? How did you build your know-how on evals, especially working that along with the prompts, and how effective or what were the metrics of the based on the product that you were building is whatever is shareable. If you could talk a little bit around that journey.
Yeah, yeah. So for that, I'll have to explain what is that we built briefly. So we had a challenge where we used to do these on-prem migration onto SaaS and all that. And as part of that, we used to do all these customized integrations to some of the customers. And in this process, what we found was the integrations had to be first captured in a requirements document, and then using these requirement documents, our developers used to code, and then our testers used to write test case, And then after they wrote the test cases, they had to then execute those test cases. And then they used to take those and identify what of those test cases had to be automated, and then write the automation scripts. So this was the entire thing. And we had around 13 testers in the team. And the kind of work that they were doing was, one person was handling five accounts, for 3 to 4 customer accounts they used to handle, and these integrations projects were increasing a lot. So it was
Mm-hmm.
difficult for us as a company to scale from there on. So we thought, okay, this is a good use case. There's a good business impact as well, because with this current team, how do we manage? How could we leverage AI, and how we could automate this entire process of what I explained. So especially on the QA part, so wherein the assessment document or the requirement document is taken, then you write a manual test case from that requirements document, and then how do you automate it? So the first phase of this entire thing was, how do you convert this requirements or assessment document to manual test case? So we when we initially started, our accuracy was around 40 to 50%, and then it then started increasing slowly after making all these iterations and all. It increased to 60. Now we are at 70 to 80% accuracy, and now we are almost there at 85-90 range. The point what I want to make here is, how the evals had to be identified. So it's certain times it is common sense, I feel. So what are the basic evals that you need to have for this kind of a scenario? First thing is, what is the completeness of the test case? Then what is the accuracy in which it is creating? How many outliers are there? And what is the trade-off? So if a manual tester had to create this kind of test cases, how much time he would have taken? And then what is that the tool is creating? How much time it is taking? What is the effort or the time that is saving? So that is the cost save. We can translate that effort save into cost save. So these are the metrics. These are the evals that we identified, and we constantly capture this part of the metric, and this is what we showcase in the uh, business meetings, and part of the business case as well. You can present these things. So this is how it all depends. Your evals, your metrics, it's all situational and contextual. It all depends on what use case scenarios you're solving, and depending on that, you will have to decide what, as a product person, you will have to decide what is that best tracking mechanism using which I'll be able to monitor whether I'm going on the right way or not.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. Very contextual, and exactly, I think the automation of test cases, I think it is definitely one of the very, very useful or proven use cases that we have seen, right? So, Karthik, actually, in this case, now I would like to kind of deep dive, right? See, a lot of organizations are trying to switch gears and trying to go into the AI first strategy. And product managers are kind of, I think, very sweetly positioned to work with the leadership or the strategic teams to say that, okay, what could be those set of first low hanging fruits which we can pick up to kind of experiment, see if we have the right talent, see if we have the right use cases. So what would be your approach? How did you approach your organizations, or you approach that, or is there like a general framework that you would recommend?
Yeah, great question again. So it all depends on what use cases you want to solve. What are the pressing needs that you have inside your company? Where are the pain points? It could be internally, it could be for the customer as well. So
Right.
first, AI is used more on the internal. That's what I've been observing. I recently happened to participate in Vista Hackathon.
Karthik, your volume is very low right now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I happened to participate in the Vista Hackathon a couple weeks ago, and what I observed in that hackathon, more than 180 companies had participated there. What I observed was, most of the companies are working in two areas primarily. One is automation, the other one is augmentation, especially when it comes to agentic AI. So automation are things like, how do you identify manual, repetitive, iterative tasks? Is there anything that you could leverage AI for and automate? Augmentation are like assistants that you could have, wherein can you build something which can assist you in making you more productive? And
Hmm.
then transformation, I think eventually probably everybody is aiming to get there, which is your entire business process. Can you make it more autonomous? So how do you build something which will help you automate your entire business process, and make build autonomous systems which will make it easier for you in handling your entire business process? And how do you using agentic technology? So that is where things are. So these are the three buckets that you can identify. and start with automation to begin with, because that's where your simple use cases would begin with. And then slowly you can start getting into a bit of automation and bit of augmentation, and then eventually get into augmentation for a while. And then when you're comfortable and you are now ready to take up the entire business process to be uh, transformed, and that's where the leap is.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. Now, the next big question is, we are all surrounded by uh, so many topics, so many posts in the social media. There's just so much of hype around agentic AI, right?
Yeah.
Now, in fact, very recently I was listening to some these things where they said, instead of product requirement document, now we have agent requirement document, right? So what have you seen around that? I mean, because I know that you personally have been participating in certain hackathons, as you just said, and have been experimenting little bit with building agents and all that. So what are the skills that a product manager needs to have? Does it brings any change the way we look at the product development lifecycle itself?
Yeah, great question, Malti. So, how I went about understanding agentic is again through YouTube's, and one of the classic examples that it's easy for us to understand agentic is how does it work. One example that I can think of to explain it in simple terms is, let's say there is a YouTube video that we have, and you want to now write a blog out of it. You want to convert all your YouTube videos, for example, into a blog. So if
Hmm.
you had to do it manually, how you would go about doing? So list out that. So first thing is to have a goal. What is the goal? Goal is to convert all YouTube videos to a blog. That's the goal. And
Right.
to achieve that goal, what are the steps that are required to be done? You need
Hmm.
to first look into the YouTube video. It has to have a title, then description, then the summary of what the content, what the YouTube content is all about, the entire actual content, and then you have to summarize the YouTube video's content, and then you have to there has to be something which will kind of orchestrate this entire thing and get it done. These are the high level steps. Now, if you have to manually do it, how much time it takes? That's one. If you have to build agents, what are those agents going to be? You will have a
Hmm.
title agent, you will have a description agent, you will have a actual content or a summary, whatever we call the body of the YouTube video. That will be another agent, and then you will have an orchestrating agent, which will kind of take this entire thing, summarize, and create the blog. That's the
Right.
plan. So now you have identified all these agents, and all of these are in sequence. And now the next topic is the next challenge is how do you build these agents? The how part. So you identified what do you need, and the next is the how part. How part is around which model to use, which infrastructure to use. The AWS Bedrock is there. You have Azure. You have all these things there. Now the thing
Correct.
is, which how do you build it? To build a simple use case like this, can I use something like an AWS Bedrock Playground to simulate this kind of a workflow process? Not necessarily. Uh, Playgrounds are still evolving. AWS Bedrock. That's what I experienced. Simple use cases you can build. If you have to build complex use cases, you have to write prompts. You have to know how to call these models in that AWS infrastructure, and find you certain times you might not get the required result. You have to fine tune that and all that. So this is all trial and error. But at least from a product management perspective, you have done the first set of analysis, wherein what is that you need, how many agents you would require, what these agents are supposed to be doing, and then how do you want to now how do you want to measure it and things like that. How do you know whether it is properly converting a YouTube video into a blog or not? What are those
Hmm.
evals going to be? So you have done your that much part. I mean, that till that level you have completed. The next part is around how do you simulate it. You can use products like bold.new, or you can use Replit to kind of understand. Now you have these agents. Now, if at all you had to build a product which will convert a YouTube video into a blog, how would that look like? And if
Hmm.
you give the actual prompt into a tool like that, you should see the kind of results that you get using those tools. You will be completely taken out. It'll blow you out. So it'll give an amazing. The UI is not going to be really jazzy or anything, but it is going to give you that first level of visualization, which will really help you take it forward.
Correct. Correct. And thank you, kind of putting together those various elements of orchestration layer, breaking it, decomposing your overall journey. Right? I think that is where, and I would again say exactly as you said, Karthik, the focus for a PM has to be on the what part of it more than the how part of it, because that's where you can, lean on your engineering team to step in.
Exactly. And
Uh,
one, yeah, Mati, sorry to cut you. Just one important thing I forgot to add is, one is, where do you need to have human in the loop is
hmm,
something that the product manager has to know. And
right,
second thing is, responsible AI is very important aspect when it comes to autonomous systems. How do you have guardrails? Where do you need to have guardrails? How do you handle the responsible AI part when it comes to agentic? So these are the things which a product manager has to do. Uh,
correct.
so, okay, I think there's a question that I see, Himanshu. AI tools for creating UI mockups, bold.new, Himanshu, you can use, Replit, you can use. You can use NA10 as well to build your workflows. You have Langflow with Hugging Post for building low code, no code kind of business workflow processes. And of
Yep,
course, these are the tools which you can use internally, Himanshu. You can't use it for a production ready kind of a thing. You can't have these tools. Uh, they will not be useful for a production ready kind of a scenario. You will have to, if you have to build something at your office, production ready and all that, you have to have a data. Um, first of all, you should have a data policy. Then you should have AI policies in place. What are the approved tools kits that you have? What you should be using, what not, and all that. And then you will probably in my company it is AWS, which is AWS Bedrock is the approved one, or Copilot, and we have to use these tools to see how best we can leverage on that. It is to ensure that your data is secure. Yeah,
correct.
Copilot, bold.new is one. You can use Langflow with Hugging Post.
I think a lot of folks, purely for creating agent perspective, I think I have seen folks using NA10 and probably Flowwise. Yeah, these are
Yeah,
a couple of tools which I've seen people using. By the way, I don't know if you've seen, but there is the Dharmesh Shah, who's the HubSpot CEO. He has created this marketplace called Agent.ai. And exactly as you were saying, right? It basically, you can create your agent and you can publish it in that marketplace, and others can use it. It of course also have some credit systems and all that, but you can use it for free. So I have played around with that a little bit, use some of these agents, something like the YouTube summarizer, that you were calling it out. So there are these multiple agents which are already there, which I've kind of played around with that.
nice,
That
nice. Thank
Yeah.
you, Madhi.
So
I'd
that
like to
is
explore.
yeah. Now, in this context, one of the things which I would also like to see is that, Karthik, now as you continue to be on this AI journey, you're kind of now probably exploring your next product or next opportunity. Largely in the industry, what do you see it? What do you see is the next big opportunity for PMs?
Um, I think a lot of companies, what I saw in one of the hackathons that I happen to be participate, is there are a lot of companies which are building uh, tools which PMs can leverage. So there is a company called Gainsight. They have built a tool using AI which will do the entire requirement engineering, include backlog and roadmap creation. You just feed it, it will create for you. There
Hmm.
are companies which are working on the user story and Epic part. Epic's user story acceptance criteria, you can leverage all these Gen AI tools. Now the part which in fact I'm doing as a side hustle is on the pricing part. So how can a tool help a product manager determine willingness to pay, and what are the kind of frameworks um, and sensitivity part, pricing sensitivity frameworks, whatever we have. So how it can use those and determine the right price range for the products. From a product management perspective, what I'm saying is at some point you will have a lot of these tools which you can leverage and you can be more productive. But more than anything else, as a PM, always you should have an eye on uh, uh, the time to market part. So your time to market is going to be very fast. You have to the competition is going to be more it's going to be a lot more competitive for you. and you will be challenged to deliver things faster than you anticipated before, and uh, the cycles are going to reduce, like I said, and then your go to market also is going to be extremely fast, and then you'll be building products at a much faster pace than
Hmm.
before. These are the things that you can anticipate, and then all companies at some point, as agentic autonomous systems mature, your entire business process transformation will be in full scale. So they would
Hmm.
need a lot of product people, or there could be two scenarios that I'm thinking, Malti. One is developers will be challenged to take up some of the product stuff, and they would be probably asked to do some of the things which we are doing currently, or product managers have to be much more technical, and they'll have to do things which a developer is doing, and be much more hands on and do things which they have never done before. There could be two possible scenarios that I'm thinking it would happen in the future going forward.
Yeah.
So these are
Yeah.
the two
No.
scenarios that I can anticipate.
Yeah. That is correct, and I would say that, as I think, I mean, while we all witness those clickbaity title, is product management dead and stuff like that, but if you ask me personally, I do believe that this is definitely a very, very exciting time to be a product builder. In fact, a new term which I'm now hearing is product engineers, right?
Yeah,
Because I think the line between pure play engineering and product team, I think the teams are definitely becoming more leaner, because with tools like Replit and all that, there is more and more faster velocity at which they are kind of being done. So PMs are definitely becoming more, coming to the more builder
yeah,
persona, right?
exactly.
Right. So I do see the rise of more product builders or product engineers kind of a persona. And I think now this is also a very exciting time. Why I think is that because now we can have a much deeper impact in terms of not only deciding what to build and of course how to build, but also, there are these today companies, I mean, we are still at a very tip of the iceberg where companies are still discussing, is there an ROI or not, right? And the earlier part which you spoke about, which is about automation, augmentation, and transformation, I think a lot of companies today are somewhere only in this buckets of augmentation and automation,
Exactly.
right? I
Very
think
true.
the next bigger opportunities where a PM can play a very important role is to be able to identify those new uh, green fields where we can build products for which the customer would be willing to pay. They could become your next top line, initiatives, which could be the biggest revenue grosser, right? And I think AI as a technology kind of unpacks a lot of that. So aspects around costing, aspects around pricing, aspects around what we can build and leveraging this whole technology at a much faster pace. I do believe that product managers have a lot more, toolkit in their arsenal, and they can move much more faster. So I think it is just the personal attitude of an individual who is a product builder,
Yeah,
which could probably stop them. What do
exactly.
you think?
Absolutely. I think one of the challenges that I've seen is for a product manager how to decide which technology to pick. If
Correct.
I identify a use case, how do I know whether I should be solving it using a Gen AI, or even decide whether I should be solving this using AI or not? That's the big question mark people have. So
Correct.
one thumb rule is, if you have a deterministic kind of an approach that you already have, which is rule based, for example, then probably AI is not the right fit. You should not be using
Right.
AI. It's a simple stuff. You shouldn't
Correct.
be unnecessarily complicating and building using AI and all that. If
Correct.
you have a situation where it is more it's like a pattern kind of a thing, or more probabilistic in nature, is where you should be looking into considering AI. Again, how do you decide whether it is Gen AI or agentic, or being building AI agents? Again, it is all to do with the use case, of course, and then what fits where. Like if you are solving a problem like an online documentation, Gen AI
Hmm.
is where it will fit in. Or if, let's say, if you have to solve a use case where it is around transforming a business process in place, like you have, let's say, a flight booking process, or it is some banking kind of a use case where there is a process business process involved. uh, there is where you can have autonomous in place. And again, autonomous systems can be lethal. It has to have the required security guardrails and all the responsible AI, because if anything goes wrong in health tech, especially healthcare, it can be fatal. So again, you need to decide how you want to use this technology, and again, considering all the other stuff that I explained when it comes to the responsible AI part, how can you be more safer and build a solution which is more around sustainability and ethical part is something that you should be considering. So that's what I think. The picking, identifying the right use case, and those use cases have to have a right business impact, and it has to have a compelling story in your company in convincing your leadership that this is exactly what is going to have solve. And then what is the trade-off that you're making? If it is done manually today using AI, what is the cost save that is happening? The three C's concept. First is the cost that it is going to reduce. Then the second thing is revenue increase, and the third thing is, can it the how is the accuracy that you are increasing by building or using AI? Are you able to increase the accuracy when compared to a human doing it? How it is doing that? So these are all some of the things you should consider. And there is a big checklist that I can share, using which you can determine whether you can go with AI or not. So straight away, my suggestion is, don't jump into AI immediately, just that you have a use case identified or a problem that you have identified. You should make sure that you have done all the required checks in place before you actually you should be convinced that this is the technology that I should be using to solve. Unfortunately, we used to first identify a problem and then go to the how part, but now we are fixated on the how part, and we are trying to figure out what problem to solve. So it shouldn't be the other way around. So I think it's all around. So you need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
now have a careful deliberation around how this needs to be handled. And
correct. We now have the hammer and we are looking for the nail a lot of
exactly,
times.
exactly.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a wonderful. Folks, those who are online, feel free to add if you have questions for me and Karthik. We'll be happy to take up those questions. Yeah. And Karthik, while those questions come up, you spoke about, for the new initiatives, AI-related initiatives, how the metrics are kind of evolving, right? So probably I'll park my question a little bit. So here, Priyanka is asking, can you share few use cases how the accuracy can be measured?
Yeah, sure, Priyanka. So the example that I was giving, right, the product where we had to convert requirements into test cases. Accuracy plays a vital role there, right? So if it is not generating, if a manual tester had to create a test case, there is no room for error, or it's very minimal, maybe 5%, 10%. So
Karthik,
what are
your
we?
volume is again very low. If you can,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. So when you have to build the same thing using an AI solution, what is the level of accuracy you are getting into? So initially, we were not convinced that AI is going to work for us, because we were there around 40-50% accuracy. We were not convinced. So then we started looking into what is that we are doing wrong. So we changed the models. We were using Claude and then Mistral and all that. And then finally, we changed the model. Started using OpenAI's O3. And then accuracy improved a lot. And then the question was around, now what? Is this the only accuracy that we'll be achieving, or are there room for further improvising those accuracy things and all that? So again, changing the prompts, and changing the way we used to call certain things, the the kind of what to say, the embeddings that we were using. We were using NoSQL, MongoDB. We changed it to another vector database and all that, and then finally we arrived at much more higher accuracy. So we are again trying and doing a lot of experiments to see how the accuracy can be increased. To answer you, Priyanka, it is not like a simple straight answer. It is a trial and error, and we have to accept that. And you have to constantly fine tune it and see if you're not able to get the desired result. There are certain things which you need to take a step. You need to take a step back and analyze where you are going wrong, and you have to constantly improve it. Priyanka. It's not like you will get everything at one shot, one go.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you, Priyanka. Folks, if there are more questions, please bring them on our way. Meanwhile, Kartik, do you want to kind of copy paste the resources that you had in your slide onto the
Oh,
chat?
yes, yes, yes. I do that. Can you see Malti?
There is another question from Karandeep.
Yeah.
Accuracy for measuring it for LLMs and RAGs. How you do it? The way you do it typically for a machine learning, these things.
Um, for a RAG, I know. For machine learning, again, it's not my area. We are not. I not worked on that area. For RAG, how we have used to do is before implementing RAG, what is the kind of output you get? Because how we used to build the workflow, it all depends on how you build the workflow, right? If let's say you have built a workflow in a way where you connected the RAG to an LLM, uh, before you build a RAG and directly asking an LLM about certain things in your prompt, you get a response. Then after you build a RAG with your you provide a much more deeper context to the LLM and what's the kind of output you get. It all depends on that. And again, you can fine tune the way the model responds as well. So if you go to OpenAI's playground, you can play with it. You can change the way the responses could go. Like for example, let's say I am giving a prompt and Malti also gives the same prompt to OpenAI now with the current LLM, the way it is. It gives two different responses. But if you have to make it one, you can change all that. Like if I go to playground and make OpenAI, if I change the way it is, what will happen is the prompt which I give and Malti gives the same response it will give. You can control all that. So you should know how to do all those things, and a training is required to do that. So it was not easy for me. I've attended more than in the last 2024. I've attended 8 trainings on AI, and this year recently I finished one training which Malti only did, and constantly you need to upskill. There are certain things which is not easily available online as well, so you have to undergo a proper structured training in order for you to learn those things, hands-on training.
Yeah. And currently, if I may add, right, one of the things as Karthik was saying, I think improvisation of your prompt is something which constantly also gives you in terms of the output of your accuracies and these things that is coming up.
Yeah.
Because while LLM is highly probabilistic in nature, there could be certain elements which you could kind of scope so that you can consistently get a deterministic output, right? For example, one of the products which I built was basically a mock interviewer. What we did was that it was very important that the relevancy of the questions which is being asked to the candidate, it is kind of consistent, right? So of course we were doing human based testing, but we kind of also, I don't recall exactly what was the name of the model, one of the products which we had hired. So we used that products to constantly measure the accuracy of the questions which were being asked. And then we also had a vision that, because we were doing this for people who are coming back after a break, so we also said that you need to start with easy questions, and depending upon the answers which you are getting, the complexity of the questions can be gradually be increased, right? So this is extremely contextual, and at the same time the accuracy, so that it is coming from the resume, it is contextual to the topic, it is contextual to the kind of answers, the follow-up answers that the candidate is giving. So it required multiple iterations, and for that we had actually used one of the external tools which helped us to kind of measure that what is the kind of responses that we were getting. So there are multiple ways to do that. But yeah, this is something that I kind of experimented with one of the products which we had built up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think experimentation is it has to be done, uh,
Right.
and continuous discovery. Teresa Torres, before even AI was there, we used to always do continuous discovery part of product. Now it has to be on you now. You have to always continuously do experimental things and understand newer concepts. Like for example, Edge AI has come. Edge AI. So after agentic AI, it is Edge AI. So many companies with IoT they want to uh, build AI with IoT and how you deploy it closer to the device is where people are now thinking towards, and much more smarter and autonomous systems are going to be in place, which you can touch and feel now. Now,
Correct.
video cameras can be much more autonomous. It will capture real time data, and it is going to be much more uh, impactful and much more effective in the way it is doing its things. It's capturing all the videos, and at the same time using those data, it can do much more things. So how Edge AI is going to help in doing those things is something that a lot of companies are working towards. Like that, you have to always keep looking at what newer things come. And another thing which I do is, which I can share, Malti, is I create a folder called Second Brain, and in
Uh-huh.
that whatever I don't get time to read all the blogs on LinkedIn and media and all those places, and certain other websites. So what I do is I create a note, one note on my Second Brain folder, and I copy all those links. And every day after my work is done, 1 hour I dedicate myself to go through those, at least one blog in a day, or it could be a blog, it could be a YouTube video, whatever it is. And then certain times you don't get time to go through the entire video in the YouTube, and you can use a tool called Merlin. It's another AI tool. It will summarize the entire video for you.
Mm.
And you can focus on the actual content which you want. Like for example, if you want to know only how to build agents and nothing else, which let's say you know already the concepts of how an agent works and all that. But if you're only focused on how to build an agent, Merlin tool actually tells you, it will take you to that area where you can actually, it will show you the entire streaming breakup, and you can go there and you can look for it. So I can put the tool name, it's called Merlin, and you have a Chrome extension as well for this.
Okay.
So you can use this tool to summarize a YouTube video, and it will also summarize you a lot of content, and you can just read that to save time. So this is what I do. You can probably follow
Awesome. The one I was telling Karthik earlier today, one of the tools I have started to use is Note GPT, which I found was very, very interesting. That you can basically summarize your YouTube videos. You can create blogs out of it. Very interestingly, it also generates mind maps, and it generates some flashcards. So I was and of course, very recently I also started extensively using Notebook LM as well. So those are some good tools that I've started to use. So I think it is a lot of trial and error, a lot of a lot of continuous learning mode, experimentation in the hustle mode. What it is, I think that is what takes you closer to the pace at which this particular space is growing.
that. Exactly. And if people think that they don't have an opportunity to work on some of these technologies, I know this technology, I don't know where to implement. You can implement sitting at home. If
Yeah,
you have an idea, you have all these tools at home. What is stopping you from building it?
correct,
So you just have to go and keep trying. So you just do
correct,
that. And if an organization, if it is not available today, you have that opportunity to create now.
correct.
So you will be the people
Absolutely.
to create that.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, we are over the time, and thank you for all the fantastic question, folks, and staying with us throughout. So, thank you, Karthik, for taking the time out. I know uh, it was a working day, and in between that, so I'm just sharing the name of the video tool that Merlin and Node GPT. Sorry, it is only Merlin. Okay, so Seema, you have it. So yeah, thank you, Karthik, for sharing the secret sauce of how you have been learning AI and how do you. So basically, if I have to summarize, you have shared a bunch of tools that you have talked about. You are continuously attending trainings. You are continuously experimenting at work. You are continuously uh, reading newsletters and bunch of stuff. So that's what keeping you at it. And talking, networking, and talking to a lot of people who know stuff that you do not know, and that's what keeps you going.
Absolutely. Right,
All
right,
right.
Malti.
Thank
And
you so
then
much.
thanks, Malti, for the opportunity. And I would like to share my LinkedIn profile. If anybody wants to get in touch, can
Yes, yes.
contact me. And this is the link to my website. You can contact me if you have more questions, if you want to discuss, if you have a problem area or use case and you're not sure how to go about, you can contact me anytime. And I would like And Malti, thanks so much for having me here and asking all the questions which are so relevant to the current day scenario. Thanks so much, and happy to share what I know. I'm also a learner in this journey. It's not like I'm an expert and proficient in what I'm doing, but whatever 2 cents I've done in this entire 2.5 years, I've just shared it. And if there's anything that you guys have to share, please do so. We're all students in this entire journey, is what I believe. Nobody is an expert.
Completely, completely. Thank you so much again, Karthik, and for spreading the goodness of what you know. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Malti.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Bye.